Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's lecture, we are going to cover how to insert a node by index. Now, what do we understand by this insert by index? It means if my linked list looks like this, one node, two node, and three node. Okay, now I want to insert my node at second position. That means I want to insert node between this A node and B node. That will be the second position, right? After A and B. For example, I want to insert X node. So my linked list should look like this. Okay, so now I want to insert my node in the second position. Right? So I have already written the function. This time we will go through it line by line. So what will be our first step? If we want to insert a node, what should be our first step? So you can see in line number 51, you can see in line number 51, I have created a node first. Okay. So when we are creating this function insert by index, we are passing two parameters here, data, comma, index. Why two parameters? First parameter is for data. That means which node the user wants to create. What will be the data which he wants to create the node for? And the index parameter. Why index? At which particular index the user wants to insert that node. Okay, so there will be two parameters in this function. Now, what will be the first step before inserting any node? Our first step should be always to create the node. We are using the node class which we have already created. As you can see, we will create another node using this node class. So let's take an example. I want to create a node for the data X. Okay. So how will my this node look like? My node will look something like this. X will be the data which I want to create the node for, and then by default, the next is none. Now this is the node which I have created. Now what will n store? N will store the reference, the memory of this node. Okay, so wherever this node has been created in the memory of the computer, that address, that reference is going to be stored in this variable n. So let's just assume the memory of this n is 100. Okay, so this is the address of this new node which we have just created. Now, in line number 58 and 59, what am I doing? I am checking whether the linked list is empty or not. That means if self.head, what is self.head? Self.head is the entry point in our linked list. Correct. If self.head is empty, that means there is no nodes in our linked list. Correct. So that is why I am displaying this to the user that linked list is empty and I cannot insert this node. Okay. Now coming to else part. What if the linked list is not empty? Okay. What if the linked list is not empty? Then I will insert that data. Okay. Now I am taking two variables and assigning it with the initial values. Now C is equals to 1. Why? Let's just first take a dummy linked list. Okay. Linked list. Okay. Now A will be pointing to B. Let's just take reference of B as 102. B will be pointing to C. Let's take reference of C as 103. A's reference, let's take 101, B's reference is 102, C's reference is 103. And since there are no more nodes, so C will be pointing to none. Okay. Now, what will self.head contains? Self.head will contain the reference of A, right? Because A is the starting point. A is the entry point in our linked list, correct? So, self.head is going to contain the entry point of A. Okay, the reference of A. So this is our linked list, which we are just assuming. Now, I want to insert a node in the second position. Okay, I want to insert a node in this position. I have my node. This is my node, right? This is the node which I want to insert in second position. So my index is equals to 2. Okay, so currently, where is my pointer pointing to? It is pointing to self.head, right? In cur, I am telling where my current pointer is. It is at self.head. That means my pointer is pointing to this node at first. So this is the first node, right? This is the first node. That means I am at first node. So that is why I am taking C is equals to 1. Got it? Cur is equals to self.head. Now, I am running the loop while cur and C is less than index minus 1. Now, why I am running till index minus 1, I'll explain you in a bit. First, now just learn why I am taking while cur. Why while cur? Okay, I am taking while cur because since what if my pointer reach to this none? Okay, so when my curve is pointing to none, that means there is no more data further in this linked list. Correct? So now I want to come out of this loop. Right? Now I want to come out of this loop. So that is why I'm taking while curve. Now, if you want to understand this concept in a more detail, you can watch my previous video. I have explained why I am taking while curve with a proper dry run, which will make you understand in a very, very better way. Okay. Now, let's just understand why am I taking C is less than index minus 1. Why am I running this loop till index minus 1 only? Okay. Now my index is 2. I want to insert the data after A. Correct. I am telling C is 1. So my loop is running like cur is pointing to 101. Let's just take cur is equals to 101. C is equals to 1, which is running till index minus 1. That means 2 minus 1, correct? Because index is 2, 2 minus 1 means 1. So will I run this loop? No, I will not run this loop. Right, because 1 is not less than 1. So this loop will not even run. Right, okay, let's just take index 3. I want to insert my new node here. Let's just run the loop once. Okay, now again, C is 1, right? C is 1, index is 3. 3 means C is less than index minus 1, index 3 minus 1. That means 2 minus 1, 3 minus 1, which will be 2, right? So means this loop will run once at least. Now I am saying cur is equals. Now I am in this line number 65. Now am I saying cur is equals to cur dot next. That means my cur, which is pointing to 101, is equals to cur dot next. Cur next field. Cur dot next. So I am changing the field of cur to 102. Now my pointer is pointing to this node. Okay. Now I am saying in line number 66, C plus is equals to 1. That means I am incrementing the value of C. Now my C has become 2 because I am a second node, right? So that is why my value of C should also increase. Now my value of C has become 2. Now again I am going to while loop in line number 64. Now I am again checking while cur. Yes, cur is there. Cur still exists. Cur's value is still 102. I am checking is 2 is less than 2. No, it is not. Right? So I'll come out of the loop. Now, why this line number 68? I'll explain you afterwards. Let's just focus. Index is not is equals to 1, right? Index value is 3. So we will directly go to the else part. So in else part, what am I doing? Now my curve is pointing to 102, right? So what do we want here? We want this B. Instead of pointing to C, it should point to this new node X, right? Whose reference is 100, correct? So I want B, instead of pointing to C, it should store the value of X, the reference of X, and X instead of none should store the reference of C. That is the link which we want. Our linked list look like this currently, but I want it to look like this. B should point to X and X should point to C, right? So what am I doing? N dot next. What is X? What is X? What is N? Sorry. N dot next. That means this N. That means this is N, right? This is N. So I am saying this next means this field is equals to cur dot next. Now this is my cur dot next. That means instead of none, it should store 103. Right? So now one task is done. My new node is pointing to C. Right? My new node is pointing to C. Now the another task. What is another task? This should point to X now. B is still pointing to C's reference, but it should point to new node. Correct? So now what I will do? This is curve, right? This is curve. So curve dot next, that means this field will point to new node. Now, where is the reference of new node stored? In N, correct? So now what will happen? Instead of 103, it will store N. Now, what is the value of N? We have assumed 100. So now everything is done. Correct? Curve B is pointing to X, X is pointing to C. So we have inserted a node by index here. Right? So we have inserted the node by index. So now you know why we were taking index minus 1. Because I wanted my pointer to point here only and not go any further. Okay. So now if I run, and also why have I taken this index is equals to 1 to handle one situation? Okay, because what if the user wants to insert the node in the starting? Okay, what if the user wants to insert the node at beginning? So that is why I am handling it. If index is equals to 1. So these two steps 69 and 70, this is the steps which we have followed to insert the node. I have written the exact lines which I have used in my previous lecture of insert the video at the beginning. So if you want, you can go and watch that video for the reference. Okay, so now if I run this program, let's just first see how our linked list looks like. Okay, this is how our linked list looks like currently. See. X, A, C, T. Now, what if I want to insert a Y node in the third index? Okay. So now I'll call that function. I want to insert Y node in third position. See, it's inserted, right? So if I also even write 1, so it will go to the if, and then it will follow the same procedure how to insert a node in the beginning, and then it will insert the node there also. Now, one case is still not handled here, which is what if I write 6 here and there is no such curd, right? Because there are no 6 nodes, right? So if we want, we can handle this situation also. There is one way to handle it is we can count how many number of nodes are there and then we can check whether that index is less than or it not. We can do it like this. We will take another variable like count is equals to 0. We will do, and while it is, we will do count. We will just increment the value of count. Now we are doing it, okay? Now I'll check here in the ls linked list under flow. Let's just check if it runs. Yes, it does, right? So this is how we are going to handle this situation. Now don't forget to again assign this core value to self.head because while running this loop, we have changed the value of curve. Okay, now if we run y comma 6, you will see that it will show linked list under flow. And now what if I want to insert it at the fifth position? Then you will see it is getting inserted at the fifth position. So that's it for this video, guys. If you like it, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.